Hey friends! Today we're talking about why mudwings are so disliked in the wolf community. Let's start. Number 1. Let's start with the easiest fact. The first book was in the point of view of Clay. Clay is a mudwing. Most of the first book was taking place under the cave, and in Scarlet's palace, which means most of the time they were not in the Mud Kingdom. Now, what I'm trying to say is all the other characters had a full book of them in their, kingdom, you know? Clay did not. Most of his journey in his book was him escaping the Skywing Palace, or the arena, and getting out of the cave. Now, with my point earlier, the other characters had a full book of them going into their natural habitats. Clay did not have that, which means we kind of adapted to the other characters' environments and, other characters of that species, you know? We did not get to do that much with Clay, which may have been one of the reasons why most people don't really use mudwings. Number 2. The way mudwings were built or designed. Now, there's nothing wrong with the design except that it's really hard to draw and it's really bulky. Here's a picture example. You see how big and strong it is? And I actually really like the big, strong built of it, but it's really hard to draw, especially to get the proportions right, because with most dragons they have a skinny, slim body, but mudwings have a very big body, so they're harder to draw like that. Now let's move on to sort of the face area. You can obviously see the nose area, and the nose idea, because they're sitting in the mud all day, is actually a very good idea. I really like that idea, what Tui did with the design. But also, that's really weird to draw, especially when there's such a big community of Wings of Fire that just draw. And I'm part of that, especially of that. And it is kind of awkward to draw since, most dragons don't look like that, but that's only one of the reasons. Number 3 is colors. Colors with mudwings are very limited. You can go from basically orange to red to brown to a very blonde color. And even with normal, regular mudwings, they're mainly just brown. And, that makes sense considering that they're always in their environment. But most people like to do rain wings, sky wings, and, all those things because they can be a bunch of different colors that are very creative, so that they have more creativity options. But with mudwings, it's kind of just I don't want to make a brown dragon. Now, it doesn't always have to be a regular brown mudwing, but that's the thing. If you want to be a true mudwing, if you want to make a good mudwing OC, I'm not saying it has to be, but if you want it to be recognized as a mudwing, you usually have to do some kind of brown color. And I personally think it's very unique to have a brown dragon since, brown isn't a very popular color in the Wings of Fire community. Number 4. For this one, it's tribes and abilities, which is for all the other tribes, they have something cool. For sea wings, breathing underwater, and they have flashy scales, and they have, glow, and they can, see in the dark. And with rain wings, they can change colors, spit venom, the list goes on. But with mudwings, they can only breathe fire, and for that, that's about it. I mean, they can obviously do other stunts and that cool things, but for abilities, it's only really fire. I know for special abilities, there's always the blood red egg, which is fire resistant scales. But then again, we already have that in the Skywings, which can have a fire scales. And also, it's kind of hard to do it since I feel like it might be a little bit odd to have a scales. I mean, with the other tribes, it's so noticeable with all these different special abilities. Like with fire scales, it's like wow, you're gonna burn me, and with frost scales, it's gonna you're gonna freeze me, you know? So it's kind of like that because you want it to be noticeable and something to happen all the time, so people can notice your OC and see how cool and original it is. Number 5. Let's say if you're trying to make a full story of your OC, and if it's all these other cool ones, you can have super cool places. Like if you have a Skywing OC, that can basically just live anywhere in this huge Sky Kingdom, and it can have very, very cool place to live. And with Rain Wings, you can have an OC that lives in the treetops, and it's going to be all cool. With Sea Wings, you can basically just explore the water to your heart desires, and all that cool stuff. But with Mud Wings, you're basically just stuck in this small kind of mud wing area that isn't very noticeable because all these other tribes have all these really cool places to live. Except the Mud Wings have this really kind of swampy area. Number 6. We're sort of going back on how Mud Wings have only one book that doesn't even explain that doesn't really say much about their tribe. Now, if Tui does write another book about a Mudwing or in a point of view of Mudwing, and maybe it'll be more in the Mud Kingdom, that would be really good. I feel like Mudwings would get a lot more attention. Cause think about it. We already have 2 Sea Wing point of view books, and we already have a Skywing, and we already have 2 Night Wings, and we already have 2 Sandwing books, and we're getting 1 more Icewing book. And you know what? Mudwings need a time to shine. Also, with the kind of I don't really care about Mudwing's feedback to Tui, is that maybe she thought that since nobody really cared too much about the Mudwings, or oh, we like these other tribes that you've created, she kind of just stopped doing the Mudwings because, if she doesn't get any feedback, that'll drop her rates on people buying her books. So if she doesn't have an interesting story with interesting characters, more people will be I might skip this book. I mean, that's not likely because people are going to read it, but because of Mudwings already getting kind of a negative feedback, they probably won't be as interested in the book as the other ones. Number 7. If you're going to create, say, a Mudwing OC, most likely that character is going to have a bunch of family, because Mudwings have a lot of family, and with creating an OC, that's creating 1 original character. But if you were to create a Mudwing, most Mudwings have these big huge families, which means you'd probably have to create a mother and a bunch of siblings, which it's hard to kind of balance all of those in between all of your regular OCs, since you just wanted to create this 1 Mudwing, but now you have to create all these different siblings and stuff. And I'm not saying you have to do that, but if you want to create a very accurate Mudwing OC, it's most likely going to have siblings, which is another reason why probably most people don't really use Mudwings. Number 8. Okay, so now, if a few people say that we don't like Mudwings, they're too boring, a lot of other people will say, yeah, me too, I agree with you. because most human beings will agree with other popular choices and like opinions. So I can understand if people were just be like, oh, if none of these other people like Mudwings, why should I make one? Because they're so unpopular. But that's another reason. If there's no one really wanting to be a Mudwing, that means Mudwings are going to go dying down. And yeah. Number 9. Okay, another thing where Mudwings haven't got a lot of books. But without a lot of books, we haven't been able to see what personalities Mudwings really have. We know that they're very loyal to their family and that they're very loyal to pretty much anyone they meet. But I feel like most Mudwings might be grumpy or they might not care a lot. But that's only the Mudwings we've really seen. I feel like there's so many more options of Mudwings out there that we still have not seen. Well, anyways, that's the last of my reasonings. I hope you enjoyed this video. It took me a long time to research all of these, so yeah. Also, I know I kind of just did a voiceover without people, but I really wanted to do this, okay? So maybe you'll be able to expect more voiceovers later in my channel, but yeah. Bye, see you next video.